Good evening and welcome to 11.7. This is a presentation on pi in your face, and it's the most recognizable constant in the world, and it was put in our face, and there's a real good reason for that, and it links into it's been like the biggest rabbit hole I've ever gone into in my life. This number has just led me from one corner to another corner and revealed so many things to me that it's the reason why I go by 11.7, which literally is one of the numbers to pi. This is the welcome page. A lot of people that come here don't even start out here. There's a lot of really good information on the welcome page, and I'm always adding to it. Not a whole lot. There's a little bit on the roles. There's a little bit on this, the numbers, which is really important, which we're going to get into. Um, the rules, of course, but more so under that, just a welcome thing to you. Actually, the number thing, I upgraded it. That was an update to it. Um, some interesting stuff about pi in this number. If you, I'm not sure how well you're seeing the numbers here. We had to adjust the size a little
Yes,
bit, but
sir.
one divided by seven, good. One divided by seven is 0.142857, 142.857, 142.857. It goes on infinitely. Most all of these numbers that I'm going to talk about are transcendental numbers, and they go on forever. And when you do them mathematically out forever, they're very accurate and very correct. 11 divided by 7 is 1.57, 142.857, 142.857. It's literally the same number. The only thing is the last two numbers was shifted to the beginning. There's a reason why 11.7 and 22.7 show this shift. And 22 divided by 7 is you have 22 skull bones and seven orifices or seven inputs: eyes, nose, ears, everything that we take our sensory inputs in. And 22 divided by 7 is 3.142857, 142.857, again, going on infinitely forever. Um, our hands, five mirrored five, just like our face, mirrored. The mirroring is a big point about this too. But our hands play a piano in the seven hearable octaves. A piano has 88 keys and is played with our 28 finger bones. 88 divided by 28 is 3.142857. Again, that number shows up. A couple other words and other things that it shows up in for Hindus. Namaste means I recognize the divine light in you. It's sort of like their greeting, Namaste. And the numbers in the gematria to this 11.7, that has a cipher to words. It actually deciphers words, and there's another pi cipher that creates languages, and then one that decodes the languages, which comes from this number. But if you add up the letters, I'll get to the code in a little bit. It's 22 divided by the seven letters, and it equals pi. The word seven is 65551, and add them together, they add up to 22. Divided by the word seven equals pi. Compass. A compass is, another thing, just pointing to the flat Earth and all this other stuff that we have. But compass is another word. The letters add up to 22. It has seven letters, and 22 divided by seven again is pi. If we reverse it, because there's a little bit of about the reversing, 7 divided by 11 is 0.636363636363. It's an oscillator. Literally in these numbers, I don't know if you're catching this, but 142 and 857 is literally every number but 3, 6, and 9. And there's three threes in it, three sixes in it, and three nines in it without using without using the numbers twice. Um, like 1 and 8 is 9, 7 and 2 is 9, and 4 and 5 is 9. It uses all six letters or all six numbers of the 142.857, and they just made three nines. And then you can go like 4 and 2 equals 6, and 1 and 5 equal 6, and 8 and 7, or whatever it is, or equals 12, and that, or 15, and 1 and 5 equals 6. And you can do it with the get 3 3s, 3 6s, 3 9s. Actually, I got a paper to show that and everything. But in the sequence of numbers, 6 and 3 are kind of separated from 9. 9 is another number. Everything and nothing from 9. I know a lot of the math people know about this, and the fingerprint of God and stuff. There's this everything comes from 9, and 6 and 3 are an oscillating number, just like the little fingerprint of God. The gift shows there's a 9 on top, and it's pulsating the 6 and 3 at the bottom, and it's just so we have 142.857, which is pi and Fibonacci or phi. It's phi, it's pi to phi, and every curve that's in between there. You can literally, depending on where you start and how you use that sequence of number, can create any type of spiral that you want. And the spirals in nature are absolutely incredible. I'm going to give show you a 3-minute video in the bottom here of this page, and that'll help show you what I'm talking about with this spiral. The other thing is just a few other things where we can find pi. If you take Jesus on the cross, we all know the story. He was nailed to the cross with 3 nails. 3 nails have a point, 3 point. They nailed the one Savior to the cross, and they nailed him to the cross, but we were forgiven for him being nailed to the cross. And the cross is made out of a horizontal and a vertical members, which is 2 pieces. And literally, the only person in history to ever be crucified on 2 pieces of wood was Jesus. All other crucifixions, descriptions of crucifixions, everywhere else in the world were always on single poles. They put somebody's hands up, bang, bang, nailed them at the top and the bottom. There was no 3 nails on 2 pieces of wood. There's a reason that the cross is displayed. There's a reason why the 3 nails were used and everything. And again, so 3 nails pointed, 3.1 Savior, 4 given, 2 pieces for your cross, horizontal and vertical, 3.142 pi again. In our face, talking about our face with these numbers, our face is composed of 14 face bones. We have eyes, nose, and mouth, 3 inputs on our face, 3.14 pi. Our skull has 22 bones, which has 7 inputs, includes your ears, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. So you got 7 inputs there. 22 divided by 7 is pi. Literally, though, between your face and your skull and your face and your skull, you have 11.7 and 11.7, which equals 22.7. It's literally in your face, and it's literally in your face as 11.7 mirroring, 11.7 mirroring 11.7. And what the 11.7 means and where that comes from, again, like I said, that'll be a little bit farther in the presentation. Here I'm doing this part on pi, 3.14. If you mirror that or write it backwards, it's PI.E, literally. PI.E is just pi. It's mirrored pi. It's a key to something that's going on. As for our skull bones, it's 11 on the right, 11 on the right. As for your face, it's 7 on the right and 7 on the left. 11.7, 11.7. Pi is literally in your face. And this pi, the 11.7 by 11.7, is actually the tetragrammaton, which is the name of God. It looks like pi 7 in the Hebrew characters. So this is another thing. Math teachers get me all the time. They do this thing. If you're doing math, you need to do degrees in rad. And a circle, how many radiances it is. It's how CNC machines and everything work. And they'll do these formulas like this formula here, and they'll use pi. And if you do rad 180 divided by 22 divided by 7 instead of the calculator function pi equals degrees, gives you the exact same answers as the pi on the calculator, the 3.14159. So, and this formula will work exactly the same if you do rad times 180 divided by pi on the calculator to give you degrees, or rad times 180 divided by 22.7 equals to degrees, and the reverse of that, degrees to rad, which is degrees times 20 or by pi divided by 180 equals the radians. We'll get into the radians a little bit for that too, so in a bit. This is just re-showing the numbers a little bit. We have pi in our vision, pi in our eyes. You have a pi hole that we eat with, we talk with. Pi face, pi in our face, and pi in our hearing, and in our hands with the piano. So literally a lot of things with pi. These are just a couple of my little sayings that I like. I add little things like that I catch all the time and get a hold of. This little video, these are a couple really good ones. 6 divided by 5. Somebody asked me to look into this. I got a lot of research onto it. Not really going to get into this tonight, but I've been working on that. That's why I haven't done this pi talk in a while, this introduction to it. Another thing I found really nicely lately here, and I add anything that I find, just incredible. When you finally realize you are the tree of life. I mean, look at your lung, look at a tree. It's amazing. So, and talking about that pi and phi, I'm going to start this little video here and play it. I'm going to go full screen. Let me know if you guys are seeing the whole thing in full screen. It's just got music in the background, so I don't really need to play it, so I think I have it muted. You guys see it at full screen?
We do, yep.
I'm getting heavy disconnections and reconnections.
I think it's your end. I'm sorry, sir. Get what you can from it. Maybe the video, you can watch it when he gets that out. So, maybe it'll be a little clearer for you. Just follow along the best you can. You sound clear to us anyway. But this is amazing. This is this pattern that we're talking about, that I'm talking about, that, is everywhere. It's a little slow in the beginning here, but it'll get better in a few seconds. It's all good though. It's all the patterns and numbers. And the funny thing about this, it says numerology at the end, and everybody says that I'm into numbers and everything. The numbers and stuff that I show are all from these things, real life. The number of petals that go around there, the numbers where them petals come out. These are everything that I will show you are numbers, just because we associate them with numbers. We could have grown up calling them anything else in the world, or looking at them any other way. These patterns would be the same no matter what. A pattern is a pattern, no matter how you name it, cover it, go over it, or whatever. This stuff, the honeycomb, and you take the honeycomb shape, and now it's the exact same thing. It'll turn into deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA. And it's the same pattern, same structure, and again, the spirals, which I think they'll highlight here in a second, and the spirals. And this is that number that's in your face. It's literally, literally expressed in their face. And we'll go over how it, actually presents itself in the real world. Totally different than the pi that's on the calculator. That they do this thing to confuse people, and they change things by just a little bit. An offset, a delta offset, like the military use. If you look at your 4 key on your keyboard, the 4th letter in the English alphabet is D. The 4th letter in the Greek alphabet is delta, and the 4th letter in Hebrew is delath. So it's DDD. It's always D on the 4th. And if you look at the symbol that's above there, that symbol is not a dollar sign. Dollar signs have 2 lines in them, always have. The symbol is a line with an S in it, or the representation of a snake and a rod, hinting towards the delta offset, to how they change the numbers of everything a little bit. By using the pi in our face, you can measure our whole solar system with the sizes they give it to us as whole numbers with no decimal places at all. It just will show you the perfection of everything, or show you that everything that they did was just sacred geometry, and um, actually is nothing more than their game. It just shows their lie. That's the importance of this number and stuff. Um, so anyway, all this is on the welcome page just to get people started and stuff. It'll also talk a little bit more about the rabbit hole, and we'll have a little bit more on that and the roles that people get here. There's number roles, there's pi roles, there's roles on the confusion, when you understand how we've been confused and how to unconfuse us, or at least what's been done anyway. There's contributor roles for people that contribute content, tweets and news and stuff like that. Looks like Eagle Eye's working on that one. He's about to get a reporter tag here. I actually should give it to you pretty soon, because you've definitely been posting some good stuff and trying to spread the truth. So either way, like I said, this server is kind of two different things. I have my half, the numbers half, and my wife, Believer, has her half, which is down the rabbit hole. And she's got she's always putting more stuff, has a lot more stuff to put up. I have a lot more stuff to put up. But we've only been here for a little while, and doing what we can. So back to Pi in her face here. I don't know how that got all the way to the bottom, but I'm going to go back we'll go through some of the lessons here about what this has meant, and why some of these things are. Just to point out Pi in our face, the literal expression of Pi in our face is, there's Bill Gates, the very first one. And funny thing is, this clip shows one pi, right? This guy hit him with a pi. He goes running down the streets. The cops there chase him down the street. Then they come out with two more pies, and bam, bam, bam. He actually got hit with 3 pies point blank in the face. 3-point pie in the face, Mr. Bill Gates. But beyond that, I have lots of examples. If you guys find more examples, this stuff, I'm hoping people add to it and stuff. There's all kinds of gifts to post of this. I have a lot of things just showing where we've seen it. Black and white television. Actually, the first live broadcast, that was a live broadcast on television, the announcer was on the stage. Charlie Chapman comes running out with a pie in his cane, and bam, right in the announcer's face on the first live broadcast. There's Madonna, more TV shows, game shows, sports people, all kinds, cartoons, Simpsons, pie in the face, multi-times with the pie in the face on Simpsons, other cartoons. The Muppet show here, that was something that I was a kid in the 70s, pie in the face. Here's sports. There's a monkey from the Monkey Evolution slapping the guy with the pie in the face. Back to black and white TV, Gilligan's Island, one of the very first shows, pie in the face. A game called Pie in the Face. Another sports one with pie in the face. Cartoons, Three Stooges, more cartoons, more sports characters. There's another one that's a face, or a pie face with a man being thrown in the face. Just over and over and over for years, since television started till modern day. There has been pies being thrown in our face. Little kid shows, boom, pie in the face. The little green guy that we know, that frog there, he's just new and very popular. Oh, he's got to have a pie in his face. Why pie in the face? This is just a nice little clip that I did to Google. The human skull is generally composed of 22 bones, 8 cranial ones, blah, 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 and it'll go over throughout that. Another thing with this pi cipher, there's a cipher from pi. The word child is 36524. A solar year is 365.24 days. That's why there's a leap year in 4 years. So word is symbolic for sound frequency. And I get into the piano then, just show the orifices and stuff. So just a little bit about that. All this is in the why pi start here too. This is basically here for anybody to go through a lot of this stuff. Believers, the rabbit hole stuff, is a little easier to understand. This sometimes is a little better being explained as like I am right now as we go through it. So, other things about this, I had these all set to the top. I don't know why it put it down to the bottom. Um, this right here is what rad is. When we were talking about the radius of a circle, the rad of a circle, r. You take the r, the radius of a circle, and you take it out and you fold it along the side. That's one radius, one r. Move it over, and you, give it a second to play here. It'll go to two radiuses, to three radiuses, and that little bit that's left over is the 142,857. And literally a full circle is 2 pi. Pi is only half of a circle. So, and 2 pi is the full circle, which would be double, would be 6.28, whatever. It's still the same sequence, just doubled. Another way of looking at the exact same thing is with the diameter. You can do the diameter, and it's got 1, 2, 3 diameters, leaving the 1.159. They say it's 1.142. Both numbers. I actually have it shown somewhere is off by 0.00126 or 0.0013% when you round up, and they're almost identical. There's no mathematical time. If you were calculating out the concrete needed for the Hoover Dam with one pi versus the other pi, it comes out to be like 2 yards of concrete difference in the calculation. It's literally nothing. They're the exact same number. But there's a reason why they don't say 142,857, 142,857, because if you saw that number, you start to say, hey, this number appears here. Hey, this number appears here, and you would see the truth. I was confused my whole life because I always thought that pi was 3.14159 and blah, blah, blah. That was most accurate, and it could never be changed. That was pi. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking into the Freemasons, and some guy's giving this speech about pi and squaring the circle, and he uses 3.142. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. This is Marty Leeds, actually, and he talks. You can go watch all of his stuff. He's got tons and tons of stuff, really good stuff, talking about the languages and everything. He's a Mason, and all he'll ever say is 3.142,857. When he squares the circle in his lesson, he says the square is 8 by 8, which is 64, and 4.5 times the 3 pi r squared using 3.142 comes out to be 63,898, blah, 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 which is almost perfect. But if you use the whole thing as 22 divided by 7, you can actually get it to be, you can square the circle out perfectly. And you can square it out in this next one here, this Fibonacci one, that too. You can drop one of them squares down, and it probably shows in another GIF that it's squaring the circle. I got a few other things in this Pi channel, just little, some Pi GIFs, nothing really to go over here, just stuff for you to look at. It was a little bit on just, I wanted people to get an idea of what, circumference and diameter and radius meant. This is the key one here. Hang on, I gotta sit on my leg here. Okay. Anyway, so get into some of this will be a big part of it here. This is the lesson on the Pi intro, the real main lesson. I have two other ones on Fibonacci and languages here. I have a big one on circles. The first time I gave my presentation, I did a lot of work on the circle to show the difference, and this time I haven't really done the lesson on that. It's just, I'll get it built in time. Starting out with this cipher. This is one way of looking at this cipher, is the 6 days of creation resting on the Sabbath. It also splits the numbers into 13 and 13, which is like a mirrored, like your face is mirrored. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, the mirroring is a clue. and it's like our hands, 5 mirrored 5. Um, I don't know if I have the
Is
paper
that
for
a
that.
form of gematria? Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, actually, it's the only form of gematria. Again, with the confusion of things. And no, and this is perfect. You guys, more than welcome. If you have any questions now, there's not that many people here tonight. Feel free to ask as we go. This is the thing of there's tons of Chaldean, all these ones where they chase the 33 around. They use for Hollywood and everything else. We're always seeing, you know, 666 and 333. They're always mocking these numbers out and stuff. But when it comes to numerology, I these people that do the Hollywood numerology or gematria, they do all kinds of weird things. They'll do it forward and backwards, and they'll do consonants and vowels separately, and like, oh, if you take his consonants you got 33, and there's all kinds of things like McLean or Mick something or else. They'll say the M is a 3 on the side and the C is the third letter. There's 33, and you can just chase that rabbit hole around. They want you to be a dog or a cat chasing your tail around. That's why there's hundreds of forms of gematria. There's I talk about this one, the pi gematria, the tetragrammaton grammar in the tetragrammaton. The name of God is hey Vod, Vod he Yod. I mean, but anyway, his name it's Pi 7 that's in our face, and it's literally I don't know where I'm going with this right now. I'm getting confused, but I don't want to mess this up. I'm going to keep going with what's here before it'll come up as we go through. I'm better reading it as we go. This next thing that's on here is the fingerprint of God. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but this is the where the 9 is, and a lot of times you'll see this where it's animated, where the 9 sends a beam down to here, and the 6 and 3 become negative, and then the 6 and 3 become positive, and they're kind of rotating. And this is again is a little trick with the 3, but 4 and 2 is 6, and 5 and 7 is 12, which equal 3, and the 6 is here. A neat thing about this, see how the 3, 6, and 9 are totally separate from this? You got the 1, 4, 2, and the 8, 5, 7 here, but these are done in a special way. 1 doubled is 2, 2 doubled is 4, 4 halved is 2, 2 halved is 1. So they double in half at the exact same time. With the 8, 8 and 8 doubled is 16. 1 and 6 is 7. 7 and 7 doubled is 14, and 1 and 4 is 5. Half of 5 is 2.5, which is 7. Half of 7 is 3.5, and 3 and 5 is 8. So these numbers also double in half at one time. I was working on this and the Fibonacci numbers, and I had like tons of spreadsheets out when this guy was talking about pi being 3.142. And I look at this and I look at my other work, especially the Fibonacci numbers, the ones that I worked on for so long and couldn't really figure it out, along with hundreds of other people. I watched every video on this that you could ever be, read so many books and stuff, never seen it shown like the way it should be shown. So anyway, this is put in a circle, and it's actually wrong. This is actually a cube, but they use this. If you took this circle and you attached like a popsicle stick to this tube, and you spun it around in a circle, it would make a donut, a toroid shape, and that's the shape that they do with Marco Ronin, and they turn this shape into a toroid shape. I think they got a little something wrong with it because they don't get what they want out of it. There's nice band TED talk from it. The power of it is unbelievable. The what we use pounds of copper for can be done with a toroidal coil and use ounces of copper. So big substation transformers that weigh tons can be done with hundreds of pounds of copper. So using the toroidal shape of Marco Rodin or Randy Powell Even if it doesn't gain 0 point energy, still would save the world so much copper and reclaim so much copper. You could go back to making copper roofs and stuff like that, or whatever you wanted. It would change the world immensely. But of course, anything like that, that's why it was banned from TED Talks. Because Ted was saying you're not pulling anything, all you're doing is stepping up the electricity. And the electricians were like, who the heck cares if they're pulling out anything? Do you realize he's doing what would cost us 20 pounds of copper using 3 wires? I mean, this energy, the copper savings alone doesn't matter if he's pulling out 0 point energy. It has no bearing on it. Just instead of using step up and step down transformers, everyone has one in front of their house to step the high voltage down into the low voltage, or the 120 for your house or 240 for your house to use. Instead of using, you pick up one of them transformers, that thing weighs like 150 pounds. That whole box could weigh, it could be really small and just do the exact same thing with just a couple ounces of copper and be on a plug-in thing. So if it went bad, they could just plug it in instead of getting a crew and a truck and a bucket and all kinds of stuff to change the one for your house. So the potential of it is amazing, even doing what they have done, taking nothing away from them. This is some of the math in the circle. I went over this really big last time. This is the key thing with a circle, where this circle is so much better than the 3.14159. Literally, a circle is 1/7 of the radius is equal to 1/22 of the circumference of the circle. So, and then I've just done these out as the radiuses, converted them all down 1/7 all the way down to pi, which is 22/7, which is actually 3 1/7, 7, 14, 21, leaving one remainder. So 3 1/7. So that's just showing you the 1/7, and then it converts it down into the fractions. And then we give you the decimal point of that. The decimal point's really easy to get. Take 1 divided by 7, and it equals 0.142157. So those first three columns do the radius of it, and it'll reveal 142857, and then it shifts it 2857, 142857, and 4285, 142857. It's the same numbers. It's always just being shifted over and over and over and over and over. Next, we'll go into the circumference now. That equals 1/22 of the circumference, and if you divide that out like I did over here to get that, 1 divided by 22. Is that how I did that? To get the degrees of it? I don't have my calculator going, but it's 8.1818, even if you have to use the formula to convert it out. And if you look at the decimal points of these, or download this picture and just look at the numbers, I'll show you the drawing in a second where it shows you like each one of these, the top, the 81818 goes down to the bottom right above the 90 degrees there. You'll see 81.818181, and the top one is 8.818181. If you add the top one and the bottom one together, it's 99999999999, and every one of them will always go through and it'll all be 999s. The next one's 3636, and these are all transcendental. That 36336 3636 366 goes on forever. Like I said, all these numbers I'm talking about, they're not short like that. Even the 142857 and 1 divided by 7, transcendental, goes on forever, like pi. So in every one of them all the way through, and the one that's the 22.5 degrees, or 45 degrees, I mean, it's in between, is 5 and 6, 5 20-seconds and 6 20-seconds, and 5 and 6 again is 11, which is like in your face, 11 and the 22. And again, if you look at it, the numbers will be 90900909 and the 4 and the 9, and right in between the two of them, you can take a calculator out and do 5.5 divided by 22 equals 0.25, or 1/4, or 180 divided by 4, 1/4 of pi, 45 degrees. And 11.7, the yellow one that's there, is 90 degrees. So 11.7 is 90 degrees. 11.7 and 11.7 is 22.7, which is pi, which is 180 degrees. And it takes 2 pi to make a circle. So this is really just a half of a circle. Now looking at there's a connection between the nines. There's a link of the nines working with this math, and that was gone over very well with vortex mathematics, and anybody that knows it, the 9 factor. Oh, pardon me. We had chili tonight, and it's just, oh. I put 2 million BTU hot pepper sauce on it. So, ooh. Anyway, excuse me if I burp during the thing. So, the next photo to this, and this is the short one. I think on the next picture I have a lot. The 89, the 81 plus the 8, the large number there is 89. 89 is a prime number. 98 and 179, 269, prime number. The 188, the 261, anywhere where these things, like I said, if you follow the green line all the way around, that makes the 9999 all the way. When you look at the numbers, you can follow each one of the links around of the long trains of 9. You do it on a calculator, it'll be whatever the number is, 8, 9999999 going on forever. And they all land on prime numbers. And here's just showing them, or one off of prime, like 90 degrees, 89 is one from prime, and 270 for the next one is 269, even though the whole numbers without the decimal point part is actually the prime. So, and that works all the way through it all. I took it, I guess I don't have it here. I took it and did the whole circle, and there's a lot more primes inside and outside with them. A little bit more of a hint on 11.7. I after I did it, like the next day, I go, I want to research the Bible and see what 11.7 has to say. And some of the things, there's a whole page of them. I put like my 3 of them here for a reason, because these all ask thee for a sign of the Lord, ask either in the depth or in the heights above. This is all in measuring and stuff like this. A true measuring of earth. Can thou search for God and find God? Ask God, and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock on the door, and the door will be open for you. These are all 11.7s, quotes from the Bible. It's just, kind of interesting, saying that you can use this math to see the perfection of God. And that circle, really, if you look at the numbers, it's absolutely beautiful. The way they run out and the way they work and stuff, it's so much different and clearer and easier to understand than the pi that's been given to us with a little bit of an offset. This is just showing you a little bit, like I was saying, 90 degrees, or pi divided by 2 is 11.7. Pi 22.7 is half of a circle, and 2 pi is actually a circle. So information, this is a little argument I had with QE, saying that he has this whole show and he does this thing, and he says that information can't be found in nature except for the one example they give in the dictionary, which is DNA. But the actual second definition of it is what can be conveyed or represented by a particular arrangement or sequence of things. If I'm not showing you an arrangement of sequence of things at the end of this, then I don't know what else you could call it. But there's definitely information in nature. And these numbers that I'm showing you they have nothing to do with trigonometry. It's not no scientific thing like a rocket scientist that you have to know to do this. The math is actually quite simple. And any of the geometry I do is nothing more than adding or subtracting. I don't ever reverse it. I don't ever put things, take out the vowels and do this and that. That's all the confusion that the layers and layers of confusion that they want to put on top of it, to have people chasing that 33 around or that 66 around and chasing their tail like a dog, chasing his tail around in a circle. And God did that with the dog and the cats just to show us that we can be just as stupid as them. Next thing is this is a really good one. This is, and I'll show you this. This is 142857, not necessarily in this order. And believe me, there's a lot more with these primes too. We'll get into a little bit more of that. There was just, a touch of the primes. But in the Fibonacci numbers, there's 24 of them, and then the digital roots of the numbers repeat. So it's 24 numbers, and then it repeats. Every 12th number, 12, 24, 36, 48, is always 9. But if you take out the sequence of it, I'll show you that I think in a bit anyway on the Fibonacci things. But these are 5 and 7, and skipping every other number shows you this. 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, 8, and then 8, 7, 4, 5, 2, 1. It's literally as a clue. So this is pi, and if you notice the way I got them lined up, 1 and 8 equals 9, 2 and 7 equals 9, 5 and 4 equals 9, 4 and 5, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, all the way across it. 1 divided by times that are in that'll just blow your mind away in a second. Okay. This is the vortex mathematics that we're talking about, doubling circuit. 1 doubled is 2, 2 doubled is 4, 4 doubled is 8, 8 doubled is 16, 1, 6 is 7, 7 doubled is 0.5, half of 0.5 is 2.5, which is 2 and 5 is 7, half of 7 is 3.5, 3 and 5 is 8, half of 8 is 4, half of 4 or doubling for doubling circuit. 5 and 5 is 10, and 1 and 0 is 1. So they're actually a circuit that actually goes, instead of 1, 4, 2, 8, 8, 5, 7, it's literally the same sequence, just in a different order. It's like a programming language. This thing does spirals, it does circles. The one divided by 7, it does just like the circle shows 1, 7, 2, 7, 3 7s, 4 7s. It's literally how circles are done, and they all line up to be, if you look at the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 5, 7, that's the way it goes into circles. In a rainbow, when we look at a rainbow, if you put a decimal point after the first digit at 41, 2587, and 51, 8427, and I got a whole section on rainbows that we look at. So a rainbow, the bottom rainbow, the colors, the Roy G. Biv is between 40 and 42 degrees. The line, which is the phi, the phi, the phi, which is 0.618033, ways up of the 2-digit numbers. That number is 412587, which is showing you the middle of, or the phi point of the rainbow. Now you turn the rainbow around upside down. If you look at every rainbow, they have this little thin lighter rainbow that's up above there a little bit of a ways, and it goes between 50 and 53 degrees at which we can view it. The phi ratio that's in between that is 518427, and 72 squared, which we'll get into what 72 means in a while. Actually, it's got to do with the Tetragrammaton, and the number of God is 72. But anyway, 72 squared is 5184. And again, the bottom rainbow in our sight, the way that we visually see a rainbow, is at 41 degrees and 51 degrees, which is 142857, top and bottom, literally in our vision, that makes us see a rainbow. The rainbow, that the only story that we're told is God flooded us, and when he was done, he put his arm up and placed a bow in the sky to never flood us again. His promise that he'd never do this again. And anyway, there's pi in your vision. Not only now have we taken pi from your hands to your hearing, from the piano in your hands to your face to your skull, and now it's in your vision, literally in your vision, those numbers. Let's see, what do we have here? This is taking just the Earth. I have true measure as one of the topics on my thing, and if we take a circle, you have a radius, diameter, circumference, area, surface area, and surface volume of a sphere. So take the Earth, and they tell us 3959. But remember, the liars like to change things just a little bit. So 3959 does not add up to 9, but 3960 for the radius of the Earth, and the moon and the sun, you don't have to change the numbers at all. It's only adding 1 to it. So, and they don't know that, the whole radius thing is a joke. But taking, 3 and 6 equals 9, and 3960 is 18, and 1 and 8 equals 9. If you double that, you get 7920, and again, and then 9, 7, and 2 is 18, so you get 9 again. Now, doing the math with that, if you calculate out, and I have all the formulas down here, radius, to get to the true measurement of 8/7 using nautical miles, which is 8/7 of a statute mile. The radius, so I convert the radius divided by 8/7 equals 3465, because a nautical mile is a little bit longer than the statute mile, so it's a little bit less. Take that and double that, it gives you 6930. Again, any of them numbers, if you add them up together, will add up to 9. You got 9, 6, and 3 is 18, which is 9, and 3 and 4, which is 7, 6 and 5 is 11, and the two of them together, 7 and 11 is 18, and 1 and 8 is 9, so always 9. The circumference is 2 times 22 divided by 7, the TruPi that's in our face, times the radius equals 2178 for the circumference. Again, 2 and 7 is 9, 1 and 8 is 9, 9 and 9 is 18. They all, this actually shows this part of the chart shows that they all 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9 always add up to 9. And the area of a circle, 22 divided by 7 times 3465 raised by 2 equals this. No decimal point. All the math is here. It's done. There's no decimal points in this, even with a sphere. 4 divided by 3 times 22 divided by 7 times 3465 cubed equals 17433038700. No decimal points, no nothing. Every one of these. And this is the next part, shows you what a nautical mile is. 5,280 divided by 7 times 8 divided by 5,280 equals 1.142857. But literally, the reason I use 8 divided by 7 for that instead of using the long formula, because 8 divided by 7 equals 1.142857, 1.2857. So it's literally the same thing. But that's just the formula showing how, the nautical mile is made. The other one is 22 divided by 7, which is from our face, the 3.142857. But you'll notice all three of them in this is 1.42857, 1.42857 going on forever. And you can measure the Earth, the Moon, the Sun, the Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, anything you want in our universe. And they'll all be these platonic spheres of 9 in all dimensions measured. They'll be all whole numbers, and the answers will always come to a digital root of 9. Sacred geometry. The measurements of Earth are nothing but a little bit of a joke. And then you change pi by 0.0013, and no one can see this. And no one uses nautical miles to begin with. Another one asked me that same question. Well, who uses nautical miles? Well, why do you think there's kilometers and statute miles? To hide the nautical miles, because they don't want you to know the truth. That number cipher that we went over there, this is drawing that same thing of the 6 days of creation out just a little bit differently. The A and the M is am, and G on the top, God on the top, am God, I am. 11 is actually literally divided by the 7. The other half, the other 13s, is NZ with the T on the top. And I don't know if any of you know that show, NZT 12, the show where you take this little drug and it opens up your mind and you can see clearly, and it's this amazing drug. There's a movie, there's a series, there's all kinds of it. If you've never seen it, you should watch NZT Z12. I can go into a whole story about Nebuchadnezzar and the oven and him sending them guys into it, and the muskoffs and manna that was gotten in the desert is in Exodus when the Jews were leaving Egypt. And it all points to this whole same thing of NZT. It's another thing that they put out right in our face and they don't tell us about. But there is literally a drug that can make you like super smart, non-atomical gold. And it has a lot of other funny features to it, like gold in a non-atomical state is the only thing that they can put on the scale, the only thing they can add to the scale, but it gets lighter as they weigh it. It weighs less than nothing. It has negative weight. The only known substance in the universe to have negative weight. Look up non-atomical gold. You'll find out a lot of things about it. This was the other paper on the circle that I was saying when I did a little bit more advanced on it, showing how the primes are on the inside and the outside. I shouldn't have clicked, but on the inside and the outside. It's a little bit small for me because he said it didn't look good on full screen. The last time I did this, I did it on full screen, but we're recording this, so we'd rather have it good for that. So you guys can look at this anyway. All them little circles that are red there say is prime, is prime, is prime, is prime, is prime, is prime, is prime. They're all prime numbers. It's literally the circle where 1/7 of the radius equals 1/22 of their circumference, or 22/7, the pi that's in our face. It presents nines on every level of it. It presents 9 going on forever, and every one of them are right next to prime numbers all the way around and stuff. And this one being one off from the prime doesn't really mean nothing, because I'm actually doing just the whole numbers, and actually if you take the two fractions on the other side, that's the missing number. So the reason why it looks like it's one under the prime, it's not really under the prime because I didn't do the fraction parts of it. It actually is the prime numbers. Literally the circle is forming all nines and pi's at every corner. There's no way that a calculator pi or any math teacher is ever going to be able to show you the beauty of a circle, the perfection of a circle, the perfection of God, the perfection of pi with the pi from a calculator. The only way you can show this is with pi from your face. Next, this is one of the greatest ones. I love this. This one, it cracked me up when I found this one. It just blew my mind away. We're talking about 22 divided by 7, which is 11/7 and 11/7. And when you're adding fractions, find a common denominator of 7 and add numerators together. 11 and 11 is 20, 22, so 22 divided by 7. So let's look at the sequence, like our face, and just like the fingerprint of God showed the 142 and the 857. So if we, divide our face up, 142 on one side and 857 on the other side, let's just connect these to primes. Take the first 11 primes, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, and 31. Let's take out 11 and 7 and add them together. They add to 142. 142. Now let's take the first 23 primes and add them together. And we'll take out the 11/7 this time, and they add up to 857. And if you take out 11 and 7 and 11 and 7, you got 22/7. That makes 3.142857. Literally, the numbers you take out make the numbers, and the first half of the number are the first 11 primes, and the second half of the number are the first 23 primes. Is that a coincidence? Or maybe nines and primes can answer some questions for us of what's real and what's not real. And this, the more I look into this number, I find it everywhere. Look at a triangle. We all know Pythagorean. You got 3, 4, 5 triangle. 3, 4, 5 triangle with an area of 6. Well, 3 and 4 is 7. 5 and 6 is 11. 11 and 7. And 3, 4, and 5 equals 12. And 12 plus 60 is 72. And 1, 2, and 3 is 6, and 3 times 4 times 5 is 60, and 12 times 60 is 72, and 72 and 720 are all God numbers, and 12 and 60 are time, and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 are just showing you 11 7 again. It's literally, it's in triangle, it's in everything. It's just, let's see, what do I have next here? This is a bunch of things on measurements in the cubits and stuff showing about it in the statute miles and how that works. I won't go over that too much. There's a lot there. Next one, let's look at a computer. We have a computer. We all know that computers run off of binary. Binary is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, blah, 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 and it keeps doubling. But let's look at it, and well, now we're going to convert them to roots. You got 1 and 1, and 2 to the 2, 4 to the 4, 8 to the 8, 1 and 6 equal to 7, 3 and 2 equal to 5. Ooh, 1, 2, 4, 8, 5, 7, just like that doubling circuit. Now this is binary. And there's the binary codes. You can see they're all the single digits, as the row starts. Go to the next one, the 7th time. 7 and 4 equals 10. 1 and 0 equals 1. 1, 2, and 8. 8 and 2 and 1 is 11. 1 and 1 equals 2. The ninth one is 2, 5, and 6. Well, 5 and 6 is 11, plus 2 is 13. 1 and 3 equals 4. The next one's 5, 12. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And 1024. 1 plus 2 plus 4 equals 7. 2048. 2 plus 4 plus 8 is 14. 1 and 4 equal 5. It'll go on forever. Literally, 1, 2, 4, 8, 5, 7, 1, 2, 4, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. Computers. Looking at this is where I said I'll show you we're taking those numbers, the 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. I've done it 1 and 2 equals 3, 4 and 8 equals 12, 7 and 5, and you can see the colors up above there, the blue, the reds, and the green in the way they're mapped out to make 333, and then 666, and then 999. And a little bit about that, looking at some of these too. 3960 is the radius of Earth in statute miles. 6930 is the diameter of Earth in nautical miles, and 5280 is a statute mile. And so 142.857. These are literally, that's a number pad there, the calculator. If you look at this, the 147 or the 142. They're all in the row on your keyboard. 258 for the nautical statute mile. For those that always tell me that metric is the system, it's so much easier to use. It's there to confuse you, because when you go to metric, if you've got 1,000 kilometers and you want to convert it to anything else, you move the decimal point right and left. All you see is 1,000. When you're working with the statute miles, at least you see different numbers. So the other numbering system might be easier to use, but it certainly is there to confuse you, so you don't see the truth, the underlying truth of the thing. And looking at the 3, 6, and 9, if you got 1 and 2 equals 3, 4 and 5 equal 9, and 7 and 8 equal 15, which equals 6. And now the Earth, 3960 statute miles, reading from the bottom up. Now let's do this mirror and read from the top down. 6930, if you have the 0 key that's on a number pad, that you would put there or there, depending on how you would do it, would show the 6930, the diameter of Earth in nautical miles, right there on your keyboard. There's a lot more to the words of key, like pad, keypad equals 28, and the pad equals 314 pi. So it's literally spelt in it. And not only that, in a number pad, if you're looking at the number pad and you add up the rows of it the way they are, you'll get 666, and you add all the keys together, it equals 45. And in this code, the code for Jesus Christ is 45666. So not only is Jesus's name presented in the keyboard, which presents the Earth. I mean, these are just loops that just link together to link together and link together. This whole web is just so amazing. And this one number, 11.7, will clear all this up and so much more. These are, like I said, I'm just scratching at all these circumstances. There's a lot more to it. A lot of these papers, you can pull them up and show them here. Another proof to why statute miles is um, the real measurement system, the true measurement system, why I call it true measure instead of God. It's a Stelfagio frequency to begin with, 528. But let's look at this 11.7, this pyramid that's in the middle. That's the Pyramid of Giza. It's in a representation of 11 and 7 to its scale, 11 at the base to 7 in the height. But let's take the miles, so a mile, 5,280 feet, and divide it by 11, and you get 480. Well, the height of the 7 of the Great Pyramid of Giza is 480 foot tall. If you want the width of the Great Pyramid of Giza, take a mile, 5,280, and divide it by 7, and you'll get 756. And that's the width of the pyramid. It's literally 11 and 7 based on statute miles. There's a little bit more on this page about the 12 and everything equal 11 and 7. This is like 11 being one of the key things. And 11 is 1, 1, or 1 equals 1. And it's just like mirrored, 1 mirrored 1. L is the name of God. God is even, so you could say 11 is God even. And look at 11 and 7. L even and S even, or God's even, you know, just saying. And the word 11, if you turn it sideways, 1 and 1, and you rotate them this way, you got 1 and 1 here, and you rotate them this way, you got an equal sign. So 11, turn it, you got an equal sign. 11 is equal, so, or God's equal, or even, or whatever. This shows you some of the other things with numbers, and that's that 3-6 thing, doing this little oscillating thing. I'm sure those that you've all seen that fingerprint of God one where where the 9 and the 6 and the 3 are doing that magical little triangle-y thing. Trigonometry, going into trigonometry, pi divided by 7. If you go all through this, and this will show you God's name. I'm going over this stuff really quickly, and God's name is 11.7 plus 11.7, which equals pi. Jesus, it'll show you 27. For God, which is just opposite, above 72, on earth 27. It's just the perfection of the created languages, American English. So the geometry of the pi cipher works best with American English because it was the perfection of the code. All the other languages, though, you can see follow really close to it. I was arguing with a language professor at a college, and he was going, you'll never do that with my German language. And I did it with his German language, and it came out exactly like the other ones did. And I'm saying, you still say your language is so unique, and it wasn't created. And the guy didn't know what to say. He's just got frustrated, left, and face turned red and everything. He just got how people are when you hit them with the truth. Sometimes they can't handle it. So anyway, this piano in the face, I think we covered that. This was a really neat thing. This is a Christmas ornament that I found, or somebody sent me, or whatever it was. But you can look at the math on this when you can zoom in and download the picture. But you'll see the little numbers around each one of these things is 1, 1, 2, 4, 8, 5, 7. Them are always the numbers out there, and you'll see how in betweens, the numbers are beautiful with the 3, 6, and 9s around this. And around each of the 3, 6, and 9s is 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. Not necessarily in that order. The sequence presents itself in many different orders, does many different things. It's like the base programming code that created our existence, you and everything that we see, the way binary works and everything else. I'm just scratching the surface of these. This is a little bit more on the measurements, giving you a little bit more in measurements, and then getting into that qubit thing and everything. And again, you'll see all kinds of times when it represents equals 11 and 7 and 11 and 7. It literally it presents itself so many times in a lot of different ways. And the next one here is cellular mitosis, the 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Again, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. Literally, sacred geometry is exactly how you, dogs, cats, rats, everything, even insects, snakes, anything, are created as an egg. When you're growing, you start out with one cell, and then you split into two cells, and then the two cells both split into four cells, and the four cells split into be eight cells, and then you got the germ of life, and then they go to the zygote, which is 64, which is this thing here, and shows the whole flower of life instead of the germ of life. It's literally sacred geometry that's been on this earth over everything, been stolen by Jews for Kabbalism, been hidden in mock the measurements of the earth and everything, is all just sacred geometry. The whole symbol of the square, the cross, and the Star of David are all the same shape, literally. If you make it, like I made it here, if you line this up and look at it from, if I can line it up with the camera, from point to point, get my arm out of the way from the thing, literally the outside of this is now making a Star of David. Makes a Star of David. If you look at it, I have the in-betweens showing you the nines. Each one, 5 to 4 is 9, 8 to 1 is 9, 7 to the 2 is 9, and 3 to the 6 is 9. So 9's in the middle. It's equal distance to every one of the points in between there. So you got the Star of David. You can actually, when them other things there aren't in there, you can hold it up like this, kind of straight, and you'll see a cross. It'll make a cross. And if you set this down onto the table, which I don't know if you can see, or wherever I can set this down, this sits down and it's literally a square. It's a cube, it's the Star of David, and it's a cross. And it's equal distance. It has 9 in the center, everything from nothing. It's literally, and this comes from you take them 8 numbers that I have, and we got a nice tight little square, and you pull them out like this, and literally if you hold this thing and you draw the germ of life and you look on top of it like this, it draws that flower of life. You can go right around here. It literally draws the germ of life by looking straight down on it. It's really cool because I printed one out on a piece of paper, and you can set this on the center of the piece of paper, and you can look down on it, and you'll see that it exactly encompasses the first 7 circles of the germ of life. It's a representation of 1 with 12 around it. Jesus, 12 disciples, Muhammad, his 12 grandchildren, Allah and his 12, I don't know what they were prophesying, whatever they were, whatever. But the 1 in 12 is a really big thing. All around, 12 is an important number. And literally, if you take any size ball, if you have 13 balls of the exact same size, and you put 1 and you glue them around there, you'll have 12 balls that fit around the 1. 12 on 1. This right here, this next one, is just showing you a little bit more about the number groups, where I was showing you the 1, 4, 7, the 2, 8, 2, 8, and 5, and the 3, 3, 6, and 9. If you take 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7, what this is doing, it's a little bit hard. You'd have to be a coder to maybe understand it. We're starting with the first line, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7, which is at the bottom. I add 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 to it, and you'll get 8, 2, 9, 6, 3, 5, and if you, that's what I did for line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9. All I did is add 7, 7, 7 to them, and then you go to the 9th one. You take the 9th line and you add 7, 7, 7 to it, and it'll bring you back to 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. So there are 9 lines of code. Each one of these from the 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7 adds 7 to each one of the numbers. 1 plus 7 equals 8, and 4 plus 7 or is 11, and 1 and 1 equals 2. And 2 plus 7 is 9, and 8 plus 7 is 15, and 1 and 5 is 6. And it'll go through, and all I did is that line by line by line. You do it 9 times, and it'll go right back to 142.857. And it literally, it kind of shows you the 147 and the 852. They're actually grouped together, and actually the 7th column should be first, and it would actually, you'd see the pattern would be perfect with 2 sets of 3, 3, and 3, and this represents each one of the sets is a perfect thing. You got 2, 5, and 8, 8, 2, and 5, and 5, 2, and 8. You got 3 numbers. Them are the 3 ways that you can put it together. And 528 is a statute mile again, or the Solfeggio frequency. Back to frequencies and sound. Next, this is King Solomon's ring. Had this, looked at it, never understood what the heck that was, and what meant by his ring there. If you look at this corner right here, it's a 5 and a 6. You can go download the regular copy. I mean, it's literally, you can see where the lines just take off across, but it's 5 and 6, which equals 11. Over here, spiraling around the other way, you got 9 and 7. 9 plus 7 equals 16. 1 and 6 equals 7. So you got 11 and 7 spiraling around 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. 3 on the inside, 6 on the inside, 9 on the outside, 3 on the inside, 6 on the outside, 3 on, it's just literally, it's showing you 11, 7 spiraling around 3, 6, and 9. 11, 7 is everything that is not what Nikola Tesla talked about. Everything but, the vectors. He talked about the vectors and where things come from. And it's literally everything but what is reality. And what is reality from what we can see here and is represented to us in computers, binary, cellular, mitosis, Fibonacci, rainbows, and everything in between is 142.857. It's our physical reality manifested. We'll skip that. This is showing, like I said, PI. If you write it backwards, PI.E, mind blown. PI in the face. Here you go. UN flag. AMG. This is the flag, the Israel, all the places that they have the laurel leaves behind on the dollar bill and everything. There's literally 13 and 13. It's ABC. It's the alphabet presented right there in front of us, along with the 33 zones on the flat Earth map. So, another thing with 11 and 7 about the Bible, like I said, there was a few other connections. One of the connections I got too was like not to eat pork. That pork's unclean and it's not meant for us to be. It's a hooven animal, but it doesn't chew its cud like a cow, so you shouldn't eat it. I told my wife the Bible or what's this meant by unclean animals going on the boat, and she gave me her explanation and everything, and I looked it up, and I just still didn't get it. And I looked up what's meant by unclean. So, the digestion of a pig is 2 hours. A pig, eats its own poo and eats anything, and it's a very dirty poo, vomit. Doesn't matter what it eats. It eats all kinds of stuff. But anything that goes in its mouth comes out its ass in 2 hours. And all poisons that a pig eats its whole entire life is stored in its fat. It doesn't handle poisons. It hides them in its fat. Why do you think they put bacon on every single thing in the world? You want an apple? Oh, is an apple wrapped in bacon? What do you want? Ice cream. Ice cream wrapped in bacon. Tootsie Rolls wrapped in bacon. I mean, what doesn't come wrapped in bacon? The reason it is because it's just so bad. Now you can take meat, and they'll take the meat of pork and they'll test it and go, oh, look, the meat isn't so bad. It's not the best meat for you. It's kind of bad. But they test the meat. Ever take a little piece of the fat off the bacon and test that and go, oh, look, this fat on the bacon is nothing but pure toxins. So here's a little piece of meat wrapped in toxins. Why don't you put it on your eggs and then put it on your sandwich at lunch, and then wrap your shrimp with bacon for dinner. There, you can have bacon in the morning, bacon on your burger for lunch, and bacon for dinner. Bacon, bacon, bacon. Eat as much poison as you can get in your body. So anyway, I haven't eaten pork since there because of 11:7. Another thing about 11 and 7 I found was this one in Genesis 11:7. Let us go down and confound their languages so they may not understand one another's speech. And that's only part of the story. Not only was speech confounded, measurements was confounded, religions were confounded. The reason that cube represents the Star of David, the cross, and the cube is because it represents the three main religions and how that was broken up among all the people and stuff. Math is language. Everybody thinks that language is made and have all these different things and how cultures made it and everything, but letters is just more sacred geometry, how they were created, how it all meant to be. When God sent his angels to the four corners of the earth, he was in Jerusalem. He took Hebrew, or Hebrew was his language. He kept that one as the only language. That was the one that spoke everything in the creation. The Hebrew language, and people say that I'm an expert at Hebrew because of the stuff I talk about it, but it's not an expert in being able to speak it. I've only been learning Hebrew the last couple years, shalom. I know how to say, Efo team, where's the bathroom? And I could probably get along if I was there, but I definitely can't have a conversation and not sure all my enunciations. I'm an expert of Hebrew because of what it means and what you can be done with the letters and what they represent, how the code is encoded in the Bible and stuff. But literally, if you take the tetragrammaton, the Merkaba, that shape that was I showed you with the cube that I threw over there, you can take that and they map this on there, and you turn the square in these different ways, three-dimensionally, and it makes every one of the Hebrew letters. Not only does it make all the Hebrew letters, but in that star tetrahedron, it maps out all the base elements as you're making the letters. So not only do they spoke everything into creation, but that literally goes from the Hebrew language to the shapes to the atomic level, with the words spoken in Hebrew. It is like it's the language that God took for himself. That's what makes Hebrew really important. How that works, where it's used, and I've done a lot of work with the code of the language, the mathematical code that's behind it. Reading Hebrew isn't just the speaking of the language and reading of the Hebrew as Hebrew. Hebrew has this thing that they teach to themselves, part of their Kabbalism, is that to read the Torah, and why the Torah is so important, the first 5 books of the Bible that were spoken by God is one word. It can never be changed. His word has to be preserved. That's his word that has to be preserved, not the rest of the stuff that comes after that. The first 5 books, not one character has ever been changed, transposed, moved, anything. It has to stay the same because of the code that it represents, the Bible code, the real Bible code. It's just unbelievable, which, Hebrew, the language, just to give you a little sample of the numbers here, I probably got it on a picture coming up, but Father, Abba, A-B, is 3. M, M for mom is 41, 4 and 1 for the 2 letters. And 41 plus 3 is 44. And Yield for child is 44. Mother plus father equals child. And the words and the numbers to the words literally mean this. So when you read Hebrew, Hebrew is meant to be read in 4 different ways. The first way is the words. The word Bereshit, the first word of the Bible, translated to English means in beginning. But if you take Bereshit and you read it in the pictorials of the thing, the alphabet, the father, sets the son, Tav, to the head of the house of bread. The father set Jesus to the head of earth, to the house of bread. And Bethany, where Bethlehem, where he came down, which was literally the town of the house of bread, where Jesus was put at. And the first word of the Bible, as letters read as the pictorials, say that the Father sends the Son to earth and sets him at the head of the earth. Jesus to the head of the earth, literally in the first word of the Bible, which is way different than the word in beginning. In beginning, or the Father setting the Son to the head of the house of bread, being born in Bethlehem, the city of bread, the house of bread. Coincidence? Maybe. I don't know. So you read it in the simple meaning is the words which were given, the translation of the simple meaning. Then you have the pictorial or the the pictures, the cuneiform or whatever you want to call them, the pictures to the words is the second level of reading it. The third level is the one that I'm into, is the numbers to the words. So when I translate the words and stuff, the pictorials are really hard because most things like Aleph and bet is like home, house, or tent or whatever, but Aleph is leader or strength, and you always have 3 or 4 choices for each of the words of what they mean. So that's where the translation of the pictorials is a lot harder, but you still get the basic idea of it. But you get to read the simple meaning, then read the pictorial meaning, and then do the number meanings of it. Now numbers, we'll get into the numbers meanings of it. I think it'll show it a little later in the presentation. The number meaning of it, Elohim, which is God. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and God was put as Elohim, which is the creator. His name is, if you take the like some of the letters are 40, which 4 and 0, and you can drop the zeros just like the root 9. The roots of his number of his name is pi, 3.142, just like the pi. It's literally pi in his name. And not only do they show that, but the 3-1 is at the end of his name, the M, and it has to be put to the front for it to read 3.142, like the pi. Just like 11.7 and 22.7, take the last 2 letters and bring them to the front. And Hebrews read the other way anyway, so it's just an argument to people go, oh, you mixed the letters up. And I'm like, nah, not really. I shifted the first 2 letters, but that shift is actually represented in our face with 11.7 and 22.7, because 11.7 is 57142.857, and 22.7 is 142.857. It's literally the last 2 numbers are shifted to the front. And in his name, if you shift the last 2 letters to the front, it's literally 3.142. It's literally pi again. Jesus on the cross, 3 nails, 1 Savior, 4 given, 2 for the cross, horizontal and vertical, 3.142. Again, pi from God's name, pi from Jesus, pi from the letters, pi. It's just this pi. 11 and 7 is the most revealing number you can ever find in your life. And speaking of which, what's coming up right here, this is Exodus 3.1415. I am who I am. Remember the thing? AMG, am God, and NCT, and T is Tau, the Tau cross, and Tau is another form of pi that doesn't use the 2 pi, it's 1 Tau, and you just change the word Tau to turn. So 90 degrees would be 1/4 Tau, half Tau, 3/4 Tau, and 1 Tau, or 1/4 of turn, 1/2 of a turn, 3/4 of a turn, 1 full turn. Tau is way easier than pi. Kids could remember it easily, but they don't want things to be easy. And literally here, if you look at the way it's written, and there's a nice pictorial of it, but the Yad Wehi, it's literally pi 7, pi 7. It's pi begotten by 7 and pi begotten by 7. It's kind of funny that his name can actually be numbers. And I can get into a little bit, or probably will come across it a little bit later. The math behind that number it's just another thing that'll just blow your mind away. Just like the primes and the 142.857 being the first 11 and the first 23 primes minus the number that makes the number. It's just really odd. Here's the Elohim. That's what that is, Elohim. And the 3-1, the M, put it in the front, and it's literally 3.141598257, which is literally, it's the calculator pi. Calculator pi is used to make languages, and pi from our face that we speak languages with is used to decipher it. So there's one pi that makes languages and one pi that decodes languages. And the pi that decodes languages is in your face that you speak languages with. The other thing, if you add the Hebrew numbers together, they add 86. 86, I'm just giving you one example there, is diameter and circumference equals 86. There's a whole bunch of other 86s that go with this, with the words. Just absolutely crazy. And what do you get from diameter and circumference? Remember the pi things that I did in the beginning? Yeah. Take 3 diameters and you get the circumference, don't you? With the 142.857 left over. Let's see. Oh, here's another good one in Genesis. Look at this one. This is God said there let there be light, and he saw the light and it was good and divided the light from the darkness. But it's in 1:3 and 1:4. But read them vertically, 11:7, 1:1 and 7. Just again, it just shows the 11:7 shows up everywhere. This is, like I was saying, the pi that's on the calculator, the 3.1415927, blah blah blah. I can't go any further. Compared to the rational pi, which is 3.142.857, 142.857, you subtract the two, the difference is 0.0013. It's off by 13,000 some 1%. And actually, the 3 is actually a 2. If you do the math, the next number over, it's a 6, so I rounded the 3 up. So, that unlucky 13 just happened to show up. And usually, when they tell you to use pi, you only need 3.14, and this is going out 4 digits, and it just shows you how very little bit that it's off. Like I said, Hoover Dam wouldn't be anything through it. Here's something in Spanish, and again, both of them stack, and it makes 11 and 11, 11:7. And if you read this one this way, 3-1, 4-1, 3-1-4-1, alphabet, or Chiru, Jesus, and you read them 1-4-1-3, which is 1-4-1-3, or 3-1-4-1 if you're reading it the other way. Pi forward and pi backwards is what it is. It's literally, again, an alphabet, English alphabet, and Chiru, just the Spanish name for Jesus. Another paper just showing it. Heart is 24. That's why it's in the middle. I had somebody that didn't understand the 24. If you write out heart, which is earth, by the way, just shift the one letter to the name. Just write out heart, 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 and then just erase the H, and then you got earth, 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 just by erasing the first letter, So, just another funny thing with the numbers. A little bit deeper, showing the pi in our face or whatever. I think I've gone over it. This is getting into those numbers that I was talking about. This is the chart, and anybody can make this. This actually works. And if you take these triangles and you rotate them, like where that V is, to the next notch or to the next notch, you have to rotate all 4 of them at the same time. But when you do that this way, it'll be like this adds up to 3, 6. The next row is 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. But if you go this way, it's 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. And then you can measure them this way. There's 3 different ways to measure them. And just like the other thing being 3 3s, 3 6s, and 3 9s, this will show all 9s in one direction, 3 9 6 in the other, in one direction, and then the other diagonal direction will show 6 9 3. The exact the mirrors of the oscillation between the 6 and the 3 again. And every time you turn these, there's like 3 different positions you can turn them in. The 9s in the 3 9 6 and the 6 9 3s just change positions. It's the vectors where things come from this direction, this way, this way. It's like when a flower and a plant grows, they're using some sort of this formula, this spiral, to decide, like when a flower is growing, the stem's growing, and a leaf comes out, then it circles around 137 degrees, and then the other leaf comes out, 137 degrees, and another leaf comes out. The same thing with branches and everything else, just follows this golden ratio. And all these numbers in this and in the circles that I showed you are all there, and no matter how you use the numbers or whatever, we all know that we've been using circles off a calculator without the circles in our pi, and it's always worked out. These numbers numbers are real things. It's the relationship between things. It's that thing of information. Can it be represented as a pattern or a sequence of things? I'm showing you a pattern of a sequence of things of real life. Doesn't matter how you count them. Numbers don't mean nothing. Numbers in my case here are just to show you the pattern. I'm literally just showing you a pattern. It has nothing to do about the numbers. But literally with these, I took the first 24 numbers here. That's all them 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. And Fibonacci is just 2 and 3 equals 5, 3 and 5 equals 8, 8 and or 5 and 8 equals 13, 8 and 13 equal 21, 15 and 21 equals 34, and it just goes on. It's that sequence, and that sequence is represented from bunny rabbits to everything else in the world. You know, the Fibonacci actually came from it by counting the generations of rabbits. You start out with one rabbit, add another rabbit, and they have a baby, and the 1 and 1 become the 3, or the 1 and 1 become the 2, and then the 2 of them make another one, which make the 2 and 1 that make the 3, and then with that child, he did it by generations of rabbits to come up with the Fibonacci sequence that's everywhere. But looking just a little bit deeper into this, I got this sequence of numbers. This is when I was looking at the 1, 4, 2, 2. It's 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and this is down, you know, every 12th one is 9. So 12th is 9 and 24th is 9. And I took these numbers and I broke them up into different groups. I divided them in half, and I noticed in the one half you have the 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, 8, 8, 7, 4, 5, 2, 1. So the first, the third, the fifth, every other number in the thing is the mirrored pi. The other things that were left were these 1, 3, 8, 3, 1, and a 9, and then 8, 6, 1, 6, 8, and a 9. And 9 and 9 is doubled. It's that heartbeat that we see in the picture, that spark when things double or whatever, and goes to the next sequence. But here, if you look at them, 1 and 8 equals 9. 3 to the 6 equals 9. 8 to the 1 equals 9. 3 to the 6 equals 9. 1 to the 8 equals 9. 9 and 9 equals 18. So one side of this, on that ring that Solomon showed us, is the pi, phi, the 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, 8, 8, 7, 4 mirrored pi on one side of it, spiraling around 3, 6, and 9. The ring, that was Solomon's ring, is the exact representation, and here it is in nature. In nature, it can't be hidden. It can't. No matter how you look at it, it's there. And not only this. Now let's take one of these. This 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, 8, and look at this again. I'm going to later on break that up like I did over here. The 1, 2, 5, 7. I'm going to break that in half now, and I'm going to turn it into 2 triangles. When you do that with this sequence, you got 2, 4, and 8. 2, 4, and 8 are doubling. And then if you do the other sets of numbers, you got 1, 5, and 7, and they're halving. Half of 1 is 5, half of 5 is 2.5, and 2.5 is 2 and 5 is 7. So one half is halving, and one half is doubling, just like the fingerprint of God, having and doubling at the same time. It's literally doing this here, and the one triangle is all even numbers. Now we got a pattern with 9s, we got a pattern with prime numbers, and now we got a pattern with every other or odd and even numbers. And when this is broken up all the way through this, you'll see 2, 4, and 8, and there again, 2 doubled is 4, doubled is 8, and on this side, half of 1 is 0.5, half of 0.5 is 7. So one doubling, one halving. One are all even numbers, one are all odd numbers. So even doubling numbers, having odd numbers. Coincidence? These numbers are there no matter it has nothing to do with numbers. They're just there. It's literally what is in nature. This is Fibonacci. Those are the first Fibonacci numbers. After this here, we'll show you some of the other things with it. Like you take the first 12 numbers and you add the first 12 numbers together, they add up to 52. 5 and 2 equals 7. And if you divide that in half, you'll actually get another 7 from it. You'll get 7 and 11 and 7 and 11 twice, just like the name of God, just like your face, your skull bones again. And then the other sequence, if you add the other 12 numbers from 13 to 24 together, they equal 65. 6 and 5 equals 11. 5 and 2 equals 7. 11 and 7. Wonder why I call myself 11-7? Pretty important number. This is the whole 24 chain, just showing you that was the numbers I started with, the 1 1 2 3 5 8 before turning them into triangles and making them into the pattern of creation that I did. I stood at them for years. I couldn't, literally years too. It's just stupid. Never knew what it was until I heard the stupid Marty Leeds say 142 is pi, and I'm like, and I looked over at my screen and I go 142,857. He was telling a half truth. Mason, half truth makes sense. And I took his half truth and turned it into a full. He opened my eyes, no matter what to say. I don't follow Marty Leeds. A lot of people say that a lot of the word stuff I do it led into this. It opened up my mind to a lot of this 11-7 stuff. I just never thought there could be a different pi than the one I was told my whole entire life. And unfortunately, I didn't hear about the 142 thing until I was 50 years old. So kind of sad. Anyway, this is the first division of it, and I break it up in 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, 8, and the 1, 3, 8. And that one, the yellow column, was really bothering me. This I understood was pi, and it was mirrored 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 4, 4, 5, 5, 2, 2, 1. 1. I understood that was mirrored. These ones over here, I had no idea what it was until I made them into the triangles. So, and the funny thing is when you map those numbers onto the triangle, there's actually a paper that'll talk about this, but the 2, 4, and the 8 go like clockwise on the thing, and the 1, 5, and 7 have to go counterclockwise to put the two triangles together to have them work as the Star of David. They don't work unless you put the number, and I put the numbers on these every which way you could ever imagine before coming up with the correct sequence. And the correct sequence I knew was right because I can add it in every direction and come up with all nines, all 3 6 9s or 6 9 3s, the mirror of that. With it in any way that I turned those things, it's literally all nines perfection. Then that's only in the 2D shape. After that, I turned it into this, because two triangles, if you able to see this, but from this to this to this white part is it's a equilateral triangle. And this other one here, this green, or blue one, or green one, I think it is. I painted them green. This is another equilateral triangle. You stick two equilateral triangles together, and they make a cube. They literally make a cube. That Star of David, if you look at it, you got to line up 2 points, I guess, like this. You get the Star of David shape. And square when you set it down, and across with the planes between the 6 and 3 that are at the bottom when you hold the square the certain way without all those things in the middle. It's a little confusing with that on there. Going a little further with the Fibonacci, after I broke them up into the 2 sets of 12, I broke it up into 4 sets of 6, and that breaks up the 4 sets of 6. After that, you break the 4 sets of 6 into the 1, 5, 7, 2, 4, 8s, and 1, 8, 1, and 3, 3, 9, and 6, 6, 9, and 8, 1, 1. So I broke these up into, so now we went from 24 numbers with 4 sets of 6 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 sets of 3. So, there's a lot more on the Fibonacci lesson. I think I stopped here and said, well, I don't want to put that. There's a lot more to go over at Fibonacci. So I put a taste of it in here. This right here, again, is just showing what I showed you before with the 11 and 7 being the primes and making 3 3s, 3 6s, and 3 9s, which I did it this way, but I thought that was a little confusing, so that's why I made it with the triangle things, just to show it a little bit better. This is a neat one I found. This is the odd number rule. If you drop something on the angle and it's rolling down, in the first second, if you count the distance that it rolls in 1 second, that'll be 1. And then in the second section, it'll roll 3 of those sections. And then in the third section, it'll roll 5 of those same lengths as 1, 5 times the length of 1. And literally, when things are rolling, they follow this odd number rule, which is the same as like the primes and stuff like that. It's just another thing reaffirming what, you know, the 7 and 11 and 11, 7, and 9. You know, so and another thing about 11 and 7, before we get into it a little bit more, 11 is 1 and 1 equals 2, and 7 and 2, it's 72. It's the number of God again, you know. So and twice it's, you know, it gets into more numbers. We'll get into that later. I don't want to confuse it. This is a neat thing. If you write 142857 down and we put a line in the middle of it, like the middle of our face, and then if we were going to read the 142, you know, it's written this way, but from our 142, 851 and 857, you know, so literally written way. So if you look at 241, it's a prime number. Literally, you know, that's 142 backwards, 241, and literally by side, it's literally a prime number and a prime number. Besides, it's a prime and it's a prime. And there's more primes in it too. You know, the 857, like 5, 7, 8 stuff. You'll find it in there many times, but it's right there. It's just showing the importance of the primes. And that's the introduction to Pi. Now, this one's only 45 minutes. Last time I went into some things a little bit more. If you guys are interested for languages, which is the really good one. Actually, I should hit the languages a little bit, because this is what brings it all home, and what the point of why 11 and 7 is so important. Some of it we've already gone over again. Like I said, you take the 7 days of creation, that cipher, the Pi cipher, is literally 11 divided by 7, 11 divided by 7. Am God and NCT. You know, we talked about the show and stuff with that. 11, 7 about confusing their languages. Good key to this whole thing. Little hint about another thing about the Hebrew language, you know, being so important in all kinds of things. This is a nice one that just shows that the Hebrew letters and Japanese letters, all they are is mirrored in upside down. They're literally the basis of the Hebrew is just like the, you know, this is the Hebrew, the second line here, that's the Hebrew letter, and this is the sound that it makes, and they put the Nunyan over it to show that it's making like the long A sound. It's just like the Japanese one. Other ones are upside down. They're pretty much, it's a pre-Hebrew language. You know, who would ever connected Hebrew to Japanese? Another unique thing about when he took Hebrew, or Hebrew was his language, or whatever, that's his, and all the other ones were made from it. There were some pre-languages beforehand, though, like Persian and Latin and stuff like that we know of. You know, pre-languages. They have their own mathematical code that is way different than our little simple cipher, the slave languages, the created languages. Darn, I got lost where I was thinking with that. So anyway, going on with this is a little bit more. This is one of the key things that started getting me looking into this. This is the pi from the calculator, the pi from Elohim, the 3.145, 1415. That has a lot to do with the pi code and the pi cipher. It's in the Bible. The hidden stuff about the Hebrew language that most people don't know. And anyway, what they do is him and men, like the right down here, the Elohim and menorah. This there's a delta offset that goes, over 3, up 1. It all goes like this, 3 and 1 equal to 4. It goes 3, 1, 4 both ways on this thing. They add things up and down, but all those points that they make this little house thing in with it, that from a triangle that goes up to a triangle that goes down below 7 and 7 to make the 14 or whatever. That's where they map the phonetic sounds. No matter what language we speak on the earth, there's only like so many phonetic sounds. No matter how you speak, you're still using shot and bot, all phonetic sounds. Besides, like something in Africa that I think use clicking sounds, which is the only one that doesn't go by a fully phonetic language. But pretty much all the other languages are phonetic. And this menorah is pushed left or right and offset up and down, and phonetics are mapped on it. And they literally created all the languages, all the post Tower of Babel languages. There was like 60 of them that were made when he sent the angels down, and then a few more. The last one being created, which is American English, and American English works so well with the PI cipher because it was the last created slave language. It was the perfection of the slave language, American English. English was close, but American English is the perfection of it, them little changes. This is just something on the web showing that guy that leaked that one thing, which was a very hard photo to get. If anybody wants to grab that, you'll never see it. It took me years to find that. This is, based showing the exact same thing with languages, and it's a calculator where you can, one of the gematria ones where they're doing the vowels and the consonants as separate things and making out the words or whatever, but they're showing you the same thing as what this one's showing you, is how the languages are decoded, even though they're doing it in their funny Hollywood way, their Hollywood flair with separating things and everything. All the real code of the language, and to really see the code, you look at names. The names are the most powerful things, and I stuck mainly to names: Shiva, Vished, names of Swani, Waikalana, all kinds of Indian names and other names of gods and stuff all the way around. And Jesus Christ in American English it shows everything from the quantum level to the paleonticists of leaves to a keyboard to the two most powerful words in the whole entire cipher are Jesus and Christ, and Jesus Christ put together, showing everything else that's in there, the December 25th thing and the whole 9 yards, everything is in the words, power in words and power in names. Like I was saying, how in Hebrew, if in languages in Jerusalem where the languages went, you think about this. If this is Jerusalem, you go and they're on the edge of the Europe, and you go to the right from there, or you're going east from there, they say things like Boker Tov, morning good, or the Spanish say mucho gracias, right? Much thanks. And we go west from there, or to America over here on this side, and we say good morning and thank you much. Totally opposite. Not only do we speak backwards and drive backwards and do everything backwards, America is the actual epitome of that. We do everything backwards. We drive backwards, we speak backwards, we read backwards, everything is backwards. We are backwards from Jerusalem. If you go north of there, you'll get up into your China and stuff like that, and China read from top to bottom. And if you go south from there to the Mayans or to some of the African tribes in the back, they wrote in columns up and down, but they read from the bottom up. So the one way they read from left to right, the other way they read from right to left. Going up, they read from up to down, and going down, they read from down to up, all going towards that point too. See the point in the center? To the right is from the point going forwards, how they read, but America's backwards, we're from the point going backwards, and the Chinese from the point, they read from top going to the point, and in the southern continents, they wrote from the up and down, but they read from the bottom going up to the point, the opposite way. Literally, languages were divided from the Tower of Babel, created created, spread throughout the world, and actually changed. And like when the Japanese language was created, all it was is a rotation in the flipping. There's mirrored ones, there's flipped ones, there's rotated ones. They're all Hebrew letters. They're the exact same thing. These languages were made and created. These languages are mapped using pi and spoken using your pi hole from pi in your face to decode it, which is a different pi than the pi that's on the calculator or the pi that is represented in Elohim in the Bible, the 1415 thing that she drew and all the other things with it. A little bit more, I think we covered that. This is about the shift. You know, when you were talking about the shift, 11 divided by 7 is 5, 7. The reason why this is 41531 and its pi is 31145 because it shifts the letters over, because literally the math of 22.7 is 142.857 and 11.7. The first one is 5.7, 142.857. All it is a shifting the last two letters to the front. Same thing with God's name. The last two numbers are shifted over to the front to make the pi. I have a whole bunch more things on 86. These are all the ones about Exodus. I think we went over. This is literally the Tetragrammaton Yahweh. Again, two symbols. If you divide this in half, you have pi 7 and pi 7 again, or a little 7, or raised to the 7. There's a real big thing with that with the math. If you go pi times 7 divided by pi raised to the 7 equals defined structure content. If you do it backwards, pi raised 7 times 7 times pi, and it turns out to be the paleontological axis of Leva, 137. So forward and backwards, and then you can add the gravitational constant to it and multiply one by the gravitational constant, and the one going this way will multiply out with the, or divide it out with the gravitational constant. I got this on a paper somewhere too, equals the alpha distance, the quantum distance, the reciprocal of 137. And the other way, if you go the other way and multiply it by the gravitational constant, equals defined structure constant again, plus 11.7, and 11.7 is literally the pi that's in our face. And literally it'll represent the quantum alpha distance, the Planck's constant. You know, the shortest distance we can measure is the distance between the light waves, which is the alpha, God. The nothing in between everything, or 9, everything from the 9 that's in the middle of that circle, everything from nothing. So, and there's a lot with this math though, and it's just, you know, I'm stacking coincidences on top of coincidences on top of coincidences. You know, some of these I just show here, like the pi 7 equals pi, and 2 pi is a full circle, and this is it on the in a picture on a church. You know, you can literally see it's pi 7 and pi by the little 7. It's, you know, pi 7, pi 7. That's the way the Hebrew characters, that's the way his name written down looks like, you know. And again, just the two syllables and the mirroring from one side to the other. And this one's, you know, it kind of like shows the growth, the little 7 getting bigger. You know, it's just all part of the whole Fibonacci thing and everything we see. It's this tetragrammaton, which is speaking, you know, grammar's right in there. So that's that picture on the on the thing. It's the name of God. It's this whole pi 7. It's 11.7 and 11.7 I'm talking about is literally the name of God. It's where it comes from in your, you know, his name, and it's represented in our face. It's represented in everything that I've gone over tonight. It's all been from 11 and 7. The two most important numbers you'll ever be shown in your earth, probably, or in your life, and probably never even knew about until you saw me and just thought, well, why the heck's this guy got 2 stupid numbers as his name? This is a little bit more about that 86 I was talking about. Great Pyramid of Giza, diameter, circumference 3.142, all add up to 86. And you know, half of 86 is 46. or no, the numbers of that add up to 46, and 46 chromosomes we have. The word 86 adds up to 46, which shows 46, which is the number of chromosomes we have. This is another thing, again, God's name, stack them on top of each other, and it becomes a little skeleton. You got the little head at the top, the shoulder bones, the two shoulder bones. It's literally represented in the shape of our body. And not only that, if you add up the values of the 5, 6, 5, 10, the Hey is 5, the Vav is 6, and the Yod is 10. You add them up, it's 26. There's 26 letters in the alphabet, the 13 and 13. 26 pairs of chromosomes. Or no, 23 it is. I don't know where I'm anyway, the 26. But if you stack his name, like in the pyramid, it actually goes to 4 levels. But if you take the third level of it, in the whole name of God, which is 72, which will come up in a minute, 10, 15, and 21 equal 46, showing chromosomes, the letters stacked to make the little body. Just a little more link of why Hebrew is such an important language. Some of the things about it: Lord and God, just like the alphabet, 13 and 13 equals 26. Lord, God, Son, Pagan, Jew, all equal 13. Deca, Tem, all equal 13. I think we went over this. Here's the cipher put to some languages to show you how you can make the connections with the languages. In American English, if you write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 down, and you add up all the numbers, to all the words, it adds up to 180. If you do it in French, un, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, sex, sept, or whatever the heck the French is, it equals 180. Two pretty good languages. The German one, done for the German dude. Null, eins, feins, dies, fünf, feins, 7, 8, none, whatever the heck it is. Add them up, adds up to 181. Look at it in Spanish, unos, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, siete, ocho, nueve, diez, all that stuff adds up to 182. That's why it's a branch. It's right by the same thing. It's not exactly 180, 180, 181, 182. The perfection of the language was American English. That's why it fits so well and makes names like Jesus and Swanee and Brahma and all these other names that are spelled in English reveal these most amazing numbers that you could ever imagine. They're all created. They're created languages. There's none of these languages are by any of the means that we've been told. This is the 72, the 72 names of God. This is the capstone of the pyramid. Supposedly had these engraved on it, on the triangle that was on the top of that. Another thing about the 2 equilateral triangles, you can put them together to make a cube like this. But if you took these 2 equilateral triangles out from the thing and you set them end to end, it would make a double triangle, a pyramid up and a pyramid down. And you actually don't need the bottom legs for it. And if you use them, you can make a 4-sided pyramid going up like the Pyramid of Giza, and a 4-sided pyramid going down, all with the exact same amount of triangles that were made into that Fibonacci thing. So not only does it make the 2 equilateral triangles, but it makes an octetrahedron, a 4-sided triangle up and down, and makes an 8-sided double pointy triangle. It makes 2 shapes out of the exact same number. So it's a really really interesting. This is something I think I showed you this earlier with the language. I'm going a little bit quick through this too. So this we talked about with the child. Child in American English is a solar year, and Abba, father, equal 3, M, mother, equals 41, and Yield for child equals 44, and 3 and 41 equal 44. that code that's in, you know, this is where you have this the father, Aleph Bet Abba, but Aleph means leader, leader or head, and Bet means house, leader of the house, father, um, mother, M, leader, and water, chaos, blood, mighty blood, menstrual cycle, giving birth to babies, leader of a house, of the children, father and mother, making a child, a child, which equals 40, 41. And this is how I do it. In you know, when I do the sentences in chapters in the Bible, I have these made on my Excel thing is all little domino tic tacs. So I just go across the, you know, I have a original Hebrew Bible and the Hebrew text, and I'll go through the characters and start putting the sentences in there, and I just grab the little things and put them together, and then I put the numbers together and put the sentence numbers together, put the paragraph totals together. There is like so many occurrences of 7 in the first sentence of the Bible. There's like 20 some occurrences of 7. It's unbelievable. Even the totals of all the words and sentences are all like 7, 14, 28 and stuff. There's just multiples of 7 in the Bible, starting from the first writing Torah from the first T, then you skip 49 letters. 49, 7 times 7 is 49. 7 squared is O, skip 49 letters. R, skip 49 letters. H, go to the next chapter, does the same thing. Third chapter spells Yahweh in the same pattern. The next 2 chapters spell Torah with the H-O-R backwards, the mirror, just like your face, going one way and you're going the other way, you know, mirroring. So the Torah, the first 2 Bibles spell Yahweh going this way. The last 2 books spell Torah going this way, and in the middle is Yahweh. The Tetragrammaton, the 4 letters we're talking about. Pi 7, 11 7, 11 7. Your face. You double it for the female or the male and female accent. There's a lot when you get into the words with this too. The words can be really crazy, but 72 and 72 is 144, and 144 is 12 times 12. Going with some of these, just to look at some of the coincidences, especially what we've went over. Elohim, 441. And that's 144 backwards, by the way. Pyramid of Giza, 441. Allah, 144. Adama, which is means beautiful child, the child of God, 144. Menorah, 441. God's aspects, male and female, because he's male and female, 144. Jewish, 14400. There's a lot with the scales of this, too. We can get into the scales. Real quickly, I'll just go over a really good one with scale and what I mean by scale. Scale is with zeros, and that's why I say when you look at NASA and they give you these things about planets and they give you all these zeros and stuff, the more zeros they add, the bigger the lie is. But there is a scaling with the numbers. We'll take Jesus, a man. He was a man, you know, the size of the man. He had the limitations of a man and stuff. He was able to be killed, crucified, and all this and that and everything. So there were some limits to him. But you take Jesus 45666 and you multiply it out, equals 4320. And 432, we all know about the audio frequency, 432 versus 440, tuning, and you know the sacred notes and stuff, and why they changed it from 432 to 440. So Jesus comes out to be 4320. Now that pyramid that we said that was 11 and 7, that pyramid of Giza, the pyramid that's in this page here too, you know, pyramid, the 11 and 7, the scale of that actually is 43,200. If you take the mass of that pyramid and you multiply it by 43,200, equals the mass of the earth. So the scale is 1 pyramid to 143,200ths of the earth. So Jesus was a man, has 1 0. The pyramid The big power plant that was in Egypt has 2 zeros. Now let's take it a little bit further. What would be bigger than that? How could we go to the scale? Oh, let's talk about the radius of the sun. You know the radius of the sun is 432,000, 432,000. 3 zeros behind that one. Man, 1 zero, pyramid 2 zeros, sun 3 zeros. Just a coincidence? Next one, this is a nice old picture of the trees. This is where you can look at how all languages came out to be and stuff, and why German and Spanish are kind of, German and French and Spanish are all, why they're not always 181. They kind of branched off and everything, and the code only works so well. That's why American English is the perfection of it. But this is the tree of languages. Another hard thing to find that you might want to grab. There's some really unique things to find on this site that you might not even have realized or known about without going over them. This I think we did about languages being mathematical. This one right here will just show a little bit about like the Hebrew values for INIR at the top of the cross. King of Israel. Here's Jesus, King of the Jesus was, it started with an I in King of Israel, so that's why they put INIR on the top of it. Well, them numbers add up to 270. 7, remember, is 90 degrees. We went over that with the circle. 11 and 7 is actually 90 degrees of a circle. And a square corner is 90, 90, and 90, any square corner, and that equals 270. When a woman has a baby, she has it for 3 months or three-month periods, 30, 60, and 90, for trimesters, 3 trimesters of 3 months, and that is 270. Another thing about 270, or more so about 3/4, because 270 is 3/4 of a circle. Do you know all trees on Earth, evergreens included, and conifers, they lose their leaves in the winter? All trees live for 3/4 of the year, and they die for 3 months of the year. Even evergreens, even though they stay green, they don't lose their needles, but there is no growth for 3 months of the year. And then in the spring, they'll get their new growth, and they'll have the sap running and everything, and they'll be a tree, and then they rest for 3 months or die for 3 months. This is another thing with the 3 days and life and death that comes up, that goes through in all different types of scales. Not only the tree with that, but every month you look at the moon, there's a new moon, and the day before the new moon, and the day after the new moon, there's 3 days that you don't see the moon. So you have the whole cycle of the moon, and then it disappears for 3 days, and not even our scientists can find it with any instruments or anything. They say it's in front of the sun, can't be seen. It's just their bullshit excuse, I would say. But anyway, the moon dies for 3 days, and it comes back. The sun progresses around the Earth, or in the 8 that it makes in the sky. It progresses, going east and stuff. It progresses 1 degree every single day, except for on December 25th at the winter solstice, the sun goes and stops. It rises and it sets in the same spot, which never happens all year long, except for at the December 21st, the winter solstice for 3 days. Then on December 25th, the sun rises and it moves 1 degree to the east. It starts its progression again. So the sun goes around all the way to December 21st. It dies for 3 days, and then it starts moving again 3 days later. So the sun dies for 3 days. Jesus, Mitra, and all the other things, if them true, but at least the Jesus one we know was died, resurrected in 3 days. The moon dies for 3 days and is resurrected. The sun dies for 3 days and is resurrected. Little ongoing theme there, and a little bit more on this paper with the numbers. So you take 270, and then INIR in English is 16, 5155 are the numbers. And if you take 27 times 16 equals 4320. That's Jesus Christ again. And that's in Hebrew and American English. multiplied together. And like I said, I don't do any math games like all them do with vowels and consonants and forwards and backwards and all that. Everything I ever do is it's either you can see it, every single one of them everywhere, added and multiplied and squared. But squared is a number times a number. 16 times 16 is 256. It's just a timesing. You don't even have to say squared. It's just, we do, but it's just a number times itself. So that's it. All the numbers that I ever show are all nothing but adding and multiplying. That's it. All these things, everything that I do. And again, just looking at this, with the Hebrew and English put together, and there's a lot of things that they work together. But multiply it out, it equals 125, and then you do the multiplying, add in the square, and I come up with the mods of 857. Well, if you look at the multiplied and the odds, look at every other one, just like Fibonacci. 1, 2, 5, 4, 8, 7, or 1, 2, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7 being 1. 1, 4, 2, it's every other one going from one to the other, 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 just like that. I mean, is this a coincidence? How does this just happen? Now, if you take the words 11 divided by 7 and you put them into the gematria, equals 77, God's number. In the menorah numbers. And if you take that and do the mods for that, equals 5, 6, 7. And 5 and 6 is 11 and 7 again. 11, 7 just shows itself over and over, especially in the names and in 142 and 369 and 11 and 7 and all the important numbers and stuff. So it can be mapped on this is Hebrew mapped on our hands. The English language can be mapped on the Hebrew on our hands the same way. I think that's just showing the subtraction of pi. Like I said, is by 0.0026. That's why I put 23 because it's 6 and it rounded it up. That's just the equation done in Excel or something. This is more of the Hebrew when I was talking about. This is how. This is what I call being, or why I don't know why some people just say, oh, he's an expert at Hebrew, and I can't even speak Hebrew, so I don't know how I'd be an expert. But the expert part of it is knowing how to do this right here. This is where I set it up, and you can do all those letters, and you can see the numbers of it. I do the word right here in the beginning. God created the heavens and the earth, and then do all the letters, and I translate them into pictorials. It's a little bit hard to see on this thing. It's really small, but all this is on here, and this is adding the math, adding all the things together, and you can do this for sentence after sentence after sentence. I got pages full of translations with these numbers and stuff, and just barely begin to scratch the beginning of the Bible. I think it was Eagle Eye asking me, well, what are some of the things? That's part of it, doing that to the whole Torah. I don't have enough time in my life to do the whole thing. I know what's to be done, but I couldn't possibly do it. It took me so many hours to do that. You just couldn't even believe it. So, there's a lot of other just good stuff. I don't know how much to go into at this thing. I think our presentation's probably 8, 9, 10. We're into 2 hours of it now. There's a lot more of the who I am's, and this is the key for the NZT and AM for the English cipher. I think we went over the math thing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, So there's the NZT, the limitless I was talking about, though. So again, 11 and 7 NZT. So and Jesus, how it presents itself. I don't have the keyboard or nothing in that, but I think if anybody has any questions, I went over 2 of the lessons that are set up there, and the Fibonacci was covered pretty well anyway. Circles were touched on. There's a little bit more with that, showing the numbers, but I think we covered it pretty good. Anybody got anything to ask?
Man, thanks for that presentation, 11. There's so much to digest there.
I know. That's why when people come into the channel and they ask me, can you explain pie in your face? And I'm like, dude, I can't teach you a language in 2 minutes. I can only give you it takes me 2 hours to give an introduction to what I'm talking about. And these subjects all go further, and there's tons more on this website. If you go through there, the next major one that I kind of put my wife's stuff, integrated, hers, mine, so she's, because she does a lot of work on this. And, with the rabbit hole stuff, it's just literally amazing the work that she's done. We've done some of the things we share on both of the things. Something that's in mine might came from her, and something that's in hers might came from me. But we both are into like 9/11 fake stuff, so we both had stuff on it. So, we just put things in the appropriate places. But in the 11/7 category, this one that I'm at, there's a 142,857 number, explains all that. There's the pi number that's saying, the calculator pi, what is meant by the calculator pi. And then there's the other pi, the pi from our face, and I give a lot of things about that, even breaking it up into colors and everything else. There's the fingerprint of God, which I was talking about, where all the nines come from. This explains everything. It's got Marco Ronan's 2 presentations at the top, like 20 slides, to read through that explain it pretty well. Then I go into sacred geometry. I call it the flower of life here instead of sacred geometry, which will show you how it links into Kabbalism and our hands and everything else again. The Fibonacci, I got Fibonacci pictures, which is actually just a large set of, we have dozens of people, the ones that have earned this role. We've been making this. There are like so many Fibonacci pictures. I could scroll up for probably 10 minutes here and you still not be to the top of that page. People, and my wife added a new one to it today right here. She goes, I found another good Fibonacci one at 9 o'clock, and it looks pretty cool. So, we got me and Steven and Ram Sam and stuff and everything. We're adding to them all the time. The Fibonacci triangles, the things that I was talking about, this is here showing some really, really important things on this and how they all work and stuff. And, some really good important things that PI that I was talking about. And this is the more technical things, all the things under topics. I got the prime circles showing you a lot more about the prime circles. I got true measures here. The true measure, you'll start out with this. It'll start out with the beginning, showing the measurement of the earth, the moon, and the sun, all done with that way where all the answers come out to 9. They're all whole numbers. It's all done the same way. No tricks, no nothing. The earth, moon, and the sun. And the weird thing about these two is, catch this, 720 times 11 equals 7920. And that's the diameter of the earth in statute miles. Look at the moon is the next one. 720, God's number times 3 is 2160. That's the diameter of the moon in statute miles. Take a look at the sun. The sun is 720 times 1200, which is 864,000, and that's the diameter of the sun in statute miles. Or it's just sacred geometry. And this paper is for those diehards that really want it. This is done in metric, in the nautical miles, and in doing both pies, the pie from our face and the pie from the calculator. And the only one that comes out with all whole numbers, this one column, is pie from your face and nautical miles. Those two together, you can measure the whole. These are all Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Pluto, Neptune, all the planets. They all come out to be even whole numbers in every aspect. It's just sacred geometry, just a game. It's nothing more than that. It's just fakery. And you can't see it if you use the calculator pi, you use statute miles, if you use calculator pi, and you use metric system. You can't see it if you use the pi from your face and statute miles. You can't see it if you use pi from your face and use metric. But you can see the even whole numbers throughout the whole entire solar system by using pi in your face and nautical miles. Is that a coincidence? How could that be? That they be all perfect whole numbers that always add up to 9 on all the solar planets, unless they're lying and just putting sacred geometry in your face so you don't even know it. Let's just change pi by a little bit. Let's make everybody use metric kilometers or statute miles. Keep that nautical mile there off to the side. And the only ones that might use it would be the boat guys. And when we tell them to use it, we're going to tell them just like the ones in school. Whenever you're calculating out pi, you only need 3.14. And when you're using nautical miles, you only need 1.14 or whatever. They tell them only to go out like one digit or whatever. They don't, because of waves and this and that, you don't need to do the math complicated. Just do it with one decimal point. That's all you need. So just to hide the number, because they'd probably realize if they were using the nautical miles that, hey, there's something fishy going on here. And I go over this stuff really in depth on all these things. All these things got a lot on these subjects. I'll go into more of the name of God, the Tetragrammatron, the rainbows, confusion, languages, menorah, words, ciphers, pyramids. Anti-gravity is another one of my things I get into quite a bit about. And then flat Earth at the bottom, so because we all pretty much come to know the flat Earth, but them are all my topics that I'm like go over and give presentations and teaching on. So anything that's on a topic could be a whole presentation by itself. And what I did tonight was just like he said, it was just to overwhelm you with what's here. And if you say it's all just coincidence and bull crap, and like they did at 24/7, I'm just MSU making up shit. Maybe I am, but I'm not playing the games that that Hollywood does and stuff. I adhere to straight rules from the beginning to the end of it, and I don't care how you look at it, in binary, in Fibonacci, in circles, and everything else. These are all numbers, but they're numbers that are there no matter what counting system you use, whether you don't count or nothing. Them leaves, the numbers that are in your face, the nines and the primes that are in all these things. Even prime numbers are prime numbers no matter how you do them. They're the only numbers that are divisible by one in themselves. It's literally, and 11 and 7 are the fourth and fifth prime, and 4 and 5 equal 9. 11, 7, 9. So and like I said, 142, first 11 primes, 857, the first 23 primes. It's just, and put the line in the middle and read them this way. 241 and 857, both prime numbers, primes within primes within primes, leaving out the numbers 11 and 7 that make the sequence. It's just like a loop within a loop within a loop. It's just like to think it's all just coincidences.
It's clearly not a coincidence.
Thank you. And my wife said, well, why don't you tell people that, that the whole, all this is, to have people, or tell them that, that you're trying to say that, that we're all created and from God. And I said that most of the time I did a little bit more tonight. It was a smaller thing, but I give my thing with my numbers and stuff with people. And at the end of it, I want you to come to the conclusion on your own that there's no way this could be unless there was really some superior intelligence or some superior thing that went on. They created us and this place. This earth has nothing to do with flatness or a ball. It's neither of them. You, me, our languages, the way we hear, speak, and everything are all 11/7. They're all made. It's all a program, a plan, a design that goes through everything. If you got Fibonacci that includes, shapes of continents, storms, and galaxies, and everything else, in this, I can take this down to the quantum level or the atomic level, whichever you want. That tetrahedron shape that I was talking about that you can make from this thing, they can plot every single one of the elements on there that we make. If you put the Hebrew lines on that, you can turn that thing like three-dimensionally, make it Aleph, turn it Bet, Gimel, Dalaf, Hey, Bob, Zion, Het, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Met, all from the same thing. All from the same thing, just mapping it out. It's incredible. It's like that mapped out the sounds, and it mapped out the elements that are equated to that shape. So sounds to shape. And we were told that this place was spoken into creation. He didn't take and throw some sand here and some sand there. He spoke. He spoke things into creation with the Hebrew language. Any other questions?
Not at the moment, man. I'm just like looking at the examples that you've shown, and when they say coincidence, it's clearly not a coincidence, right? They're
Yeah, that's what I
they're
say. There's no way.
patterns. They're yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when you
that
showed
first thing.
the planets and their radius and their the
Yeah,
measurements and things like that, how they used it. And using nautical miles, that's a good catch, instead of
it's
statute
another way, a layer
or
of deception.
kilometers. Yeah, exactly. So that makes me, because I've been looking into numbers and I'm trying to find certain things, and I've caught a certain things from you've caught certain things from your presentation, like those nautical miles and things that I could try to incorporate and see what I can find, right? I'd love to
Yeah,
share with you too.
that's what this place is for. Everybody's welcome to share here. I'll start anybody that has a topic they want to start, even a rabbit hole topic. It doesn't matter. Any topics can be created. The number nine, I had a whole section I did on numbers and box ops, and somebody else, I don't remember who it was, said, "Hey, yeah, we'd like a nine thing. Could you make it for us?" And they did a beautiful job putting it together. I was actually here when Box Ops was doing it. We were talking, and we were chatting in the channel, and I kept deleting it and stuff. I said, I like the way you're putting it together. You're showing it really well. But that was something that was created by um, people that were here. And everything here is by us. The whole idea of what me and my wife was to get this started. And anybody else, if you have stuff on Illuminati or this or that, or if there's a subject that you think should be started, ask us. Another number that you want added to the numbers list or something, anything, or just add to this stuff. Like I said, the Fibonacci pictures was one of the most amazing ones. You can look through that thing. You'll see I posted I think like 125 to get it started, and then somebody else, Steven, came on. He posted like 40 of them, and then I came back and posted like 10 more, and then somebody else came on and posted some. And since then, we keep teasing each other. Okay, your turn next, and everything. And my wife's got in there. She every time she finds a good one, she posts it there. That's why the Fibonacci pictures is huge, because it's literally everything in the world. And like I said, no matter how any of this stuff you look at it, they did. This has nothing to do with numbers. The numbers are just a way for us to look at it. But I don't care if you labeled these things as A, B, C, D, E, F, or one fungi, two fungi, three fungi, or however, whatever numbering or way that you do it, you can't change the relationship between the radius or diameter to the circumference of a circle. It's literally there. No matter how you look at it, we just learned that it's that number, so we could figure out how to make CNC machines work, so we converted it to numbers. But still, people took a string and a pencil and drew a circle, or a compass and drew a circle. It's still the radius makes the circle. It's there. It's information, and all this that I showed you is all stuff that's in nature. And QE does this whole thing about there's no such thing as information in nature. And I brought it up to QE that there is information in nature, and I think you're wrong. And he, on public, the thing, episode 1280, if you don't believe me, screamed at me at the top of his lungs, calling me the biggest numpty dipshit. And how do I think that'll go from me challenging him that I am the most stupidest shit that ever walked on the face of the earth? That was QE's his thing. I wanted to present him to this. Now I've showed you. Is there information in nature, or am I just making it all up? Is it all just made up shit? There's literally, it's.
It's
I
clearly
don't
there,
know.
dude. It's clearly there. The Fibonacci sequences and flowers, and the way vegetation is created, and so many things. And you've also demonstrated so many occurrences of PI.E 11.7 and things like that. So it's clearly there. I mean, so there.
It's clearly represented in nature. It's a pattern or sequence, just like the definition of information is. And yet, for me to even try to bring up they wouldn't even let me bring it up to QE for like a month, and I was just like joking with QE, and I said, yeah, they wouldn't even let me or question you about your subjects and stuff, because I said I think you're wrong on one thing. And he goes, well, what's that? I said, well, that there's information in nature. And like I said, and he just goes into this belligerent uh, yelling. He raped me, berated me so bad. It's hard. That's why I don't watch any of his stuff or anything now. I have no respect for the guy. I would never do that to somebody right off the bat. Just because I'm saying I think one of your things might be wrong, that there's literally information in that nature. You kind of missed it. He has to scream at me like I'm like he has never screamed at a global person as hard as he screamed at me. He totally dissed me so darn bad. It was just it was it was embarrassing. It was totally. And then Battle Mod goes, well, QE, you really should listen to him. He's given a lot of presentations here, and he brings up a lot of good points and everything. So like an hour later, in the same episode 1280 of Miggy's things or whatever, he goes, oh, okay, Goth, I promise I won't call you any names or whatever, but I want to hear what you wanted to tell me about with the thing. I mentioned two things to him, and uh, 30 seconds, and literally, I'm not lying, 30 seconds later, and you can go to the tape, and if you don't believe me, 30 seconds later, he goes, oh, I think you define words different than me. I got to go. So after a month of waiting to confront him on the thing, after getting berated by it, and after Mod's telling him, hey, you should listen to him, he's got some good things, he gives me 30 seconds and then walks out the door and slams the door on my face. So as far as I'm concerned, QE can just stick it, because I don't care what he ever has to say ever again for the rest of my life. I'll never watch anything of his. Consider anything his. I still use the Black Swan because it wasn't him. He stole it from John D. or whoever, the one that really came up with it and filmed it. That wasn't him.
What were the two things you mentioned to him before he ran off?
I don't know. You'd have to go back to the tape and stuff. It was only 30 seconds too. It was really quick. I barely even got started, and he goes, I think you define words differently than me. I gotta go. It's literally what he said, and he left. It's just terrible. And I haven't given him like I said, I haven't looked at a thing of his ever since then, because of that. I could never do that to a human being, especially when we're all here about the truth about sharing Earth. Me and Gandalf argued about the Earth. He's a concave earther, and I'm a flat earther thing. And we had this thing with 4 or 5 people here. We talked for an hour or so. He respected me. I respected him. At the end of it, we agreed that all we can do is locally measure and see with photos and everything of flatness, that you cannot prove convexity or concavity of the Earth at all. That's what can't be proven. That this realm that we live on is flat. And he agreed. And we both agreed to it. And he's still his concave earther, and I'm still the flat earther. And even though we still agree about all kinds, we had a beautiful talk in group chat today about this Earth thing, in some of the funny things, why flat Earth doesn't work, and why they don't mention these things, and you can't even mention them over there. If you do, I literally, it's actually in the group chat, DM'd Indio 007. I said, hey, how do you answer the quarter circumference problem? And he goes, oh, what's that? I've never heard about it. He owns the biggest flat Earth server, and he doesn't know the number one thing that they can't, the flat earthers can't answer about the Earth. If we have an Earth that has a 25,000 mile circumference at the equator that flat earthers and globe earthers agree on, on a flat map, if it's flat, the radius of 3959 is the distance from the equator, from the outside equator point to either pole, to the South Pole or to the North Pole, right? That's 3,959 miles, right? On a globe, it's a ball, so it's longer. So from the equator to the equator to one of the poles is over 6,000 miles. Do you know from the bottom of Texas to the top of America, it's over 2,000, like 2,100 miles? And from the top of Canada, or from the top or bottom of Canada, the southern part to the northern part of Canada, it's I don't know, like 2,200 miles or whatever. So it's 4,300 miles bigger than the 3959 with just America and Canada. And you have to go from the top of Canada to the North Pole, and you have to go from Texas to the equator. And yet, the width of America and the width of Canada is bigger than the flat Earth 3959 radius. They can't answer that. And I asked Indio about it. Oh, I've never heard of that. What are you talking about? You've never heard of the quarter circumference argument. Literally, you own the biggest flat Earth server on the web, and you've never heard of this. Somebody's lying. And I found out the reason why we don't have no map, because they can't answer the quarter circumference argument, because literally the width of Canada and America is bigger than the circumference of the flat Earth map. Period. Can't be answered by any flat earther, even Indio, who pretends to have never even heard of the argument. So, I don't know. That's that. There's a lot of weird things, and we were talking about it pretty much today. There's a lot of things with the globe that just, or the measurements on the globe that just, it's not just the quarter circumference thing. There's a number of issues with the measurements of the this place that we live on. Anyway,
I'm sorry to hear that, man. It just sucks that there's, that flat earthers can have fighting in between themselves, right? It's ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, it actually is. I don't understand it. And I'm not. I don't know. It's a good question, and if we can't talk about the good hard questions, then we're just going to pretend that this here doesn't exist, that this is not real, either of these two things that I posted. If we're going to pretend that they're not real and they're not, something you can look at, just never address or answer them, where are we going from there? We have to address the harder questions to come to the truth. So, after finding out about that and stuff and everything, and being told that I was making up shit and being treated like dirt by QE and a couple of the other ones too. I did a challenge on there one night, and I was the one that made the challenge, and Helio and other people were arguing with me more than the Glober that I was going against. I was saying like, for instance, I said to the Glober, I said, like when we see things drop, we only see things, if you drop even a bowling ball from a helicopter, it never comes down towards the center of the earth, it drops straight. And Helio was, oh, let me don't talk about this for a half hour. Well, actually, there is a degree of things when something drops, it doesn't go straight down, it goes to the thing, and then not only him, it was, I don't remember the other globe earther at the same time, but him and another one, two of them totally argued with me about that things fall straight down. And then the Glober finally got to say things, and he goes, yeah, and I actually agree with you. We only do see things drop straight down. That's interesting. So I made a challenge to a Glober, and the Glober agreed with me, and two other people in the channel spent a half hour arguing with them and wouldn't even let me talk about my whole thing. My whole challenge just got ended because they just wanted to put me down so bad that they would, and the only one agreeing with me was the Glober that I made the challenge to. Pretty weird? I don't know.
It's nuts, man.
It is. It's just, the whole thing's nuts. It's just crazy.
Well, thanks for the presentation, man.
Oh, you're very welcome. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it. I'm about ready to put it over to this, and we can talk about anything or anything else. So you can end the recording, and I'll stop the live streaming. So you stop looking at my ugly mug. Let me type the ending of this here. Good one though. You guys listened really well. Every time I give these presentations, I've never been, somebody interrupted one time and I acted like it was a bad thing, and I was like, it was no problem. I mean, you guys are every time I do this, everybody just listens and hardly interrupts or anything, So, which is really nice. It's just every time I've done it over here, people have been respectful and they've actually listened. I've tried over there on 24/7, and every time I did the speeches, there'd be, like that that Tesla guy. Oh, I agree with you 120%, saying that in every other word. Oh, I agree with that. Oh, you can't. How do you give a presentation with 10 people talking all the time, even if they're all agreeing with you? To be quiet and listen for a minute and let somebody get through something. Being interrupted every 2 seconds, we would have never gone through the material we went through tonight. We actually covered a lot of stuff in a couple of hours. This was a real long presentation, but a few of you really wanted it. We've been waiting a long time. The last one was done in November. Just, on a weekly or bi-weekly method, and also services to other people to be able to present things that they might like. If Gandalf wanted to present his things on the concave earth, and I think everybody should listen to everything. The only way to be a good debater is to know both sides of a subject. You can't just go by one side and think that. I was taught that in debate in school when I was like 6th grade or whatever. We had to do a debate thing or whatever, and the first thing the teacher said is, if you're going to debate somebody, the number one rule is to know their side of the subject better than you know your side. And I've lived that way ever since like 6th grade. If you don't know a subject until you don't know a coin until you see the back of the coin. You need to know both sides of the argument. If you can't argue for and against something, literally in a debate, you should be able to take the two people to the debate, and they should be able to switch sides and still have the debate.